Hello friends, welcome to the channel and thanks for watching this video. So today we are going to talk about introduction to the Ansys SpaceClaim graphical user interface. This video is the first chapter from the complete SpaceClaim training module. This training module covers everything that you need to learn about Ansys SpaceClaim, mainly for simulations. SpaceClaim is used in various industries for different applications. Um, so this training is however customized for the simulation applications. The current session covers the introduction of SpaceClaim user interface and various menu options and tools available. You can refer the next chapter videos for other topics of ANSI SpaceClaim. So let's get started then. Let's open the SpaceClaim software. There are various ways to open the software. We can open it through conventional program files option and look for ANSI SpaceClaim. It can also be opened from ANSYS Workbench. Workbench introduction, however, will be covered in the separate training session. For now, I'm just going to use a shortcut. I type space here in the search, and the SpaceClaim app name will appear at the top of the search listing. You can then click on this app, and it will open the software. This is the quickest way of opening the software if you want to use any of the ANSYS softwares in standalone mode. This is how the graphics interface of SpaceClaim looks like. This is a display window with an axis chart reference to the global origin. This will be the origin or center of your model where x, y and z coordinates will all be 0. Let's try to get familiar with the general options in SpaceClaim and their usage. At the top right corner, you can see a little question mark symbol. It is nothing but the resource option to look at the SpaceClaim help manual. When you click on this, it will take you to the link that will open in the internet browser. This is the page of Ansys for SpaceClaim documentation. You can find all the software related documentation with the detailed explanation of all the tools. You can click on any option here and uh, try to get the complete understanding of the detailed options. Next, let's go to the top left corner where you will notice there is a toolbar. This is called a quick access toolbar. This contains common actions such as open, save, undo, redo, etc. In addition to these, you can add various tools in this toolbar using this customize toolbar button over here. You can select any of this option and that will appear over here in the quick access toolkit. These are the pull down menu options in the ribbon. This is called a ribbon and these are the pull down menu options. These are arranged in a sequence for the user to follow a sequential process for CAD generation, and they are easier to find for the required options. For example, file menu is the first where you can open the model, create the new file. Then the sketch where you can create the sketches, and then the design, in the design tab you can create the 3D from those sketches, and etc. The different options available in the sequence. We'll take a deep dive into each and every option which is shown here in the upcoming sessions. Moving to next is the file menu option. This has some generic options such as file open, save and create a new design or drawing. At the bottom right of this file menu option, there is something called SpaceClaim options. So this option is there to customize the graphics interface you're looking at based on your preferences. Let's take a quick look at it. Click on this option and it will open the options panel. So these are the SpaceClaim options you can customize. On the left, there are various categories you can choose from the customizations. For example, let's go to appearance. You can change the background colors here. Right now the color is white. The environment color, I'm going to leave it as default settings. You can go to units if you would like to work on in particular units. I prefer millimeters for length. That's why I set it that way. If you can choose centimeters, meters, or any of the units you would like for any particular parameter. For example, angle in degrees, mass. If you want mass in kilograms, then you can use kilograms. The quick access toolbar we viewed earlier, you can locate it here in the customize. You can see these options here: open, save, undo, and redo, which were over here. In addition to these, there is an option called ribbon tabs. So these are the menu options or the tabs which are there at the top of the page. You can customize this as well as taking any menu option out or adding any particular option to the ribbon. For example, let me take out the key shot, which I rarely use, and add mesh to this ribbon, and let's click OK. You can see now the mesh tab is added, and the keynote and the key shot option is gone. So once done, you can see all those changes updated. In order to go further, let me open any file, any SpaceClaim file. So I'm going to this folder and selecting the SpaceClaim file. So this symbol, if you see, this is the SpaceClaim symbol, and the file name extension is .scdoc. So this is the native file name extension of SpaceClaim. So you can just click the file name and click open. It will open the model. So this is the model display. It is displaying everything in the tree. You can hide anything on and off. As you can see, there are panels on the left hand side column. There are three main panels. This is one, second, and this is the third. This is a structure tree panel which contains all the objects those were created during the process of CAD modeling of this particular file. This could be solid components, any axis, any origin or a plane, or any component, as you can see here. So those were all the objects that were created during the this CAD modeling. Moving down from here to the second panel is options. In order to understand this, let's click on any particular menu option here. So we are into move. You can see the options have changed. This panel have changed with the different options that is particularly related to this option. Also, on the top left of the display screen, you can see some more options related to the tool we have selected. These are called the tool guide options that are used for executing a certain CAD task in a particular way. For example, providing a direction for a surface extrude, or providing a path for sweep, or providing a direction for moving the model. This is where this tool guide helps. So these panel options, if you see, when we choose pull options, these options will change. These are the sub options of the main feature. So these options are used to tweak the features that will be created using the tool guides. You will notice the changes in these options when we select multiple menu options. You can see these all will be covered in detail in the upcoming sessions. Let's talk about the third panel now, which is a properties panel. So this panel displays the information of what is selected. For example, if I select this solid from the structure tree, it will display the information related to that object. It will show the material, if it was assigned. It will show the type of the solid and other details. You can also change the color from here. If you select any surface, then it will show the surface definition. For example, the surface we selected, the definition, this is the geometric definition of the surface. So it is set as spline right now. If it was any flat surface, it will be different as a plane. So depending on the geometric definition, it will display the information. So depending on whatever we select, it provides the information. Moving to next is the bottom left corner. This is a status bar which prompts the information for the user to know what is currently going on in the model, what is currently selected, or any particular action step that the user need to take for doing a particular CAD operation. So this is the same message that will appear over here at the top left corner of the display window while performing any particular operation. For example, if you are in the pull section, pull button, then it says select and drag a face to extrude it, to offset it. So this is the same message that will appear over here. As we are at the bottom section, let's look at the bottom right options. There are quick shortcut options here for spin, for move, and for zooming into the model. These are the selection tools as well. You can use these options for moving or navigating the model. These are very handy, particularly if you are working on a laptop and does not have a mouse. These options can be used just with the left click. For example, just click on this spin option and you can see this spin symbol will appear on the screen, and left click on anywhere on the model and just move the mouse, so it will spin the model in the display. Similarly, the pan. So the pan translates the model, moves the model in the XY direction. You can see, you can just left click and move the mouse. However, using the mouse, you can move the model very conveniently. Now let's look at the mouse buttons, how they work. Left click of the mouse is for selection. Using the left click, you can click on any surface, so that will display the information, or you need to pick any object for any particular operation. So the left click is for that. You can select anything. You can select an object using the left key. Using the surface, you can select the surface, plane, and axis. Any object that is in the structure tree or in the display. Right click is for the options for whatever is selected. For example, if I right click on the surface, it will show the options that can be used for this surface. For example, if you want to hide it, you can hide the face. You can see the face is hidden. You can bring it back. You can hide this object. The middle mouse button is for the zoom and rotating the model. For example, if I click the middle mouse button, and you can see the spin symbol automatically appearing on the screen, and then you can move the mouse and you can spin the mouse any way you like to get a preview of the model. In order to zoom in and out of the model, or you can just spin the roller in and out, so you can zoom in and zoom out the model. So if you want to pan the model or move it vertically or horizontally in a plane, then you can use control and middle mouse button. So press control and click the middle mouse button or a roller to pan the model around the display. Please remember to click control and the middle mouse button. Both should be clicked all the time as long as you want to pan the model. So this is all about the mouse buttons and how to navigate the model in the display. Let's move on to the next topic. Moving from left to right on the ribbon, you will notice that there are tools to create and design the geometry, such as sketching, then sketching, and then design a 3D design, such as pull, move, or fill. There are other tools in this group which are for editing the 3D geometries, and these tools are move, combine, split the body. Basically, these tools are used to edit the existing geometry. So overall, this can be summarized in three main categories. First one is sketching. Second is the pull operation. And the third is the geometry editing. Pull is specifically the option that you will most likely to use for creating the geometries once the sketches are created. We'll go in depth of that option in upcoming sessions. This is a move tool. Move tool changes the location and orientation of the part or solid or any object in the model. You can move any object from one place to another or rotate. You can just click on this move and this is move arrow. So it can move the object in any particular direction. There is a subgroup in the ribbon which is called intersect. This has mainly fill and combine options. The fill option is used to remove or create any local features on the geometry. For example, if you want to remove any small holes, fillets, chamfers, threads, etc., mainly for cleaning up the geometries, then you can use that. This is a very handy option. And combine option is used to merge the two parts together or subtract them from each other. Let's look at the next tab, which is a display tab. So display is the tab that controls how we visualize everything in the model. We can change the color of the parts and faces here. Just right click. Let's undo the selection first. Just right click on it and you can display and you can change the color of any particular object. You can change the color from here as well. You can change the graphic style of the part such as solid, shaded or wireframe. At the rightmost there are options to display on and off the various things such as you can toggle on and off the world origin. You can use different options to show let's for example the world origin. You can, if you toggle it off, the world origin will be gone and now the world origin will be here. So there likewise there are different options you can bring in, like body glow. When you select the body, you can see the glow around it. So the body means solid in terms of a space claim. So this is a body. When you select a 3D volume, it's the body. So likewise you can choose any options to display here. So let me unselect this. Next is the assembly tab. This tab is used for positioning the different components relative to each other to make an assembly like any other CAD software. So in this tab you have the option to insert those child parts. You can then apply the constraints for arranging or positioning those parts together such as align, tangent, orient. You can also insert the standard parts from the libraries here. So these are the web libraries such as trace parts and cadenas. When you click here, it will go to the website, the trace parts website, and there will be standard parts such as nuts, bolts, screws, flanges, gaskets, air filters, or any other parts. It's a big library. You can explore this library for the standard parts. Next is the measure tab. So measure tab have the options to measure the parts for dimensions, mass, volume, etc. This can be done for any geometry entity such as line, surface, solid, etc. We can measure the length of any line. If this is a circular line and click measure, it will give the length, circle diameter. As it is a circle, it is giving a circle diameter and the perimeter. We can measure any entity um, as long as it is present on the geometry here. For example, we can check the plane surface to surface distance. Click the surface and click this plane. You can see the dimension between this face and the plane. The plane was actually created earlier, so we can use that to measure the distance. We can measure the 3D properties as well, such as volume, mass center, and moment of inertia. That option is over here. So if you select the mass properties, you have to select the 3D volume. As you can see, the cursor automatically prompts us to select a 3D body. So when you select the 3D, this information will appear over here, including which displays mass, volume, where is the center of a volume. The mass, however, doesn't appear here because we haven't selected a material. Once you select and assign a material to this solid, which is over here, then it will display the mass. Let's say for example we select any material for now, so you can see the mass will appear over here and center of mass, and these are the mass moment of inertia. This is a good information that can be used for certain types of simulations. The next tab is the facet option. The facet options is used for creating the geometries from the tessellated geometries such as STL files, those triangulated files, or JT files. JT files are the scanned files. Those are generated when we scan any particular physical part. So those are in the form of triangles and lines, sometimes the point cloud data. So we need to recreate the surfaces using this point cloud data or the STL files. So the Facet tab has all the options to do that. Next is the Repair tab. So Repair tab is intended to be used for cleanup of the imported CAD models or geometry. The cleanup is usually required for many different purposes that will be covered in the future sessions. So there are various cleanup tools to assist for cleaning up the geometry. The next tab is Prepare. Prepare has all the options to prepare the geometry to be used for next step in the simulation, which is meshing, such as creating internal fluid volumes by extracting them. If you have a solid model, then you can extract the fluid volumes out of those and use it for the next steps. Or creating an enclosure. So we need to create the enclosure around a particular object for simulation. So this option can be used. This another option is called interference. If there are multiple bodies in your file, and if they are intersecting, then you can find whether where the intersections are and how they are interfering with each other. Next is the workbench tab. So workbench tab is used for preparing and processing the final geometry for using in the workbench for meshing. So there are some options which are used for this purpose. Share and unshare are the most commonly used options. Share and unshare, basically they create a sharing topology between the adjacent solids. This will be covered in detail in the later sessions. You can see to the right there are some icons here to open Fluent, Mechanical and the Workbench within the SpaceClaim itself. So when you click on this Fluent option, it will open the Fluent software. As we're going from the geometry, so it will open, you have the option to open it in Fluent Meshing. So once you open the software from here, it will automatically transport the CAD model to the meshing software. Next is the Detail tab. Detail tab is all about drafting and creating a drawing of the 3D models. The 3D models does not need necessarily to be created using SpaceClaim in order to create the drawing. You can just import any step file or any other part file to create the drawings. So as this is not a part of the simulations, we will not go in details. Um, However, there are few options which are useful for simulation engineers, and those are annotations and the dimensions. Using these options, we can highlight the dimension of any particular feature and annotate it on the display. So this is sometimes useful in sharing the model information to others in the form of pictures. So it can be great to show the dimensions on those CAD images. Let's try this. You can see when you select the circle, it is showing the dimensions. So for annotation, you need a plane. So the plane will be the plane of this surface. So you can see, you can show the dimensions. This is the showing the dimension of the outer circle. You can show the dimension of the inner circle. You can customize this font and everything from here. There are lots of settings here. So this concludes the current session of SpaceClaim Introduction. To get familiar with the graphical user interface, where to locate the menu options and search for different tools. Please don't forget to follow the next chapters that will deep dive in depth of each tools and options.